Let's welcome them in right now, too. Berniece Collis, welcome back.
Well, thank you very much for having me back.
Pete Mulford, good to see you in studio.
Good to be back with you.
Been a bit.
It's been a little while, maybe a year. I don't know.
Man, how you been?
I've been very good, thanks. Yeah.
Very nice. You folks have an event coming up yourselves, which is very important. You'll be honoring Berniece.
We got another star here.
Yeah.
We do.
Go ahead, set it up, Pete. What are you asked to?
Well, we're doing the
Get a little closer to your microphone.
30th annual Friends of Scouting dinner called the Distinguished Citizens Award for Berniece here, and could not have picked a better person to represent what's going on volunteer-wise, mission-wise throughout the community, and particularly supporting youth. And I think, as you heard before, Berniece has a great history with the Girl Scouts, with Rotary Youth Service, with her church, and, you can just go on and on and on, let alone the chamber activities. And Teacher of the Year, by the way. Did you know that?
I do.
Yeah, she was Teacher of the Year, and maybe she'll talk later about a program she and others developed years ago, went all the way to West Virginia and was noted for the West Virginia schools as a good program for training your youth in business.
Oh, actually, I went to California.
And I went to California. Wow. I would have gone with you there.
It was fun.
But we're looking to fill the Holiday Inn on Tuesday, April the 8th. We have a fundraiser. The Admiral's been recognized before. Steve Catlett.
You've been recognized.
I was recognized one year.
Or just nobody, Rob.
Well, I'm thinking I've got your names here now that I'm here today.
No.
I'm sure you both would draw. And so
people would pay you to not honor me.
well, that's okay. I mean,
Not you.
It's money either way,
We'll
right?
take it any way we can get it.
Lowers the expenses, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's April the 8th. How much are the tickets, Pete?
The tickets, I believe, on your form, I think they start at $125 per person, go all the way up to $5,000 for our marquee, and we have several marquee donors, already. I'm always excited about this because we fill the Holiday Inn like the Girl Scouts do, like the Chamber does for their annual meeting. And it's really just a great gathering of people around the community that like doing things for the community and with the community. And always, like this year, picking Berniece as one of our own that deserves that recognition.
How do you buy the tickets?
Well, it's on a website called www.bcdca25. That's Berkeley County DCA 25 at givesmart.com. I don't mind giving you my number. They can call me, 304-268-5627, and I can field the right calls to the Scout office for that.
Very nice. And Berniece, congratulations once again. We had you on the program a month ago or so, and we're just trying to do a final kick to make sure it all gets sold out. How many tickets are remaining? Any idea?
We still have enough that we can get people in. I think the good news, we're almost more than 2/3 to our goal, and we're really in the last 2 weeks when I'm calling people every night saying, do you remember getting something? Oh, yeah, I remember getting in that in the mail, and I'm going to send it in. I say, I'll put it in for you.
It's like when you run a golf tournament, it all comes in at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Berniece, let's go to the Teacher of the Year stuff and what role you played in the things that you did as an educator.
Oh, wow. Teacher of the Year was way back when I was teaching at Hedgesville Middle School, and it was Berkeley County Teacher of the Year. And one thing specifically that I remember about this, and Maria will be, it will be special to her, in that when I had sent my application in, I believe it was Ray Johnson was one that read the application, and then when they came back and they told me that I was selected as Teacher of the Year, there was also a red mark around a word at the end of a sentence. I ended a sentence with the word "with." I will never, if you get something from me and I'm going all the way around the barn, not to say "with" at the end of that sentence, you know why now.
Ending in a preposition.
Can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot of years of editing that I can't get away from it. So,
anyway,
where are you meeting at?
Yeah,
right.
In front of the at. Yes, I do that.
Don't do the at.
That's right. Yeah, and then when we were, we taught students with special learning challenges, so to speak. And one thing that we did with our students to kind of get them thinking about business, thinking about money and how to handle it was the teachers every month had to do a bulletin board in their classroom and had to be taken down and put up. And then once a year, each teacher had to do a bulletin board in the hallway. So we had our students form a little company. It was called Eagle Construction Company. They would go out and sell bulletin boards to the teachers. The teachers would say what theme that they would want, and then I think it was like $2, and we were only raising enough money to have markers and scissors and things like that. And so the students would go out with a pad. They would take the order. Then they would come back, and then we would sit around and figure out, okay, so how are we going to do this board? And the skills that they learned, not only money, but the fine motor skills that many of them didn't have at that time. So we did a lot in fine motor skills. Then the students would go out, they would actually create the board, make them, cut everything out, and get it all ready. Then they would go out and put the boards up. So their work was in the hallway. Our boards also came with a guarantee that if it got messed up, that we would make it right to the end of the month.
That's amazing.
Because you would, I mean, kids would go by, and just tear it. But the students got to see their work in the hallways, and they were so proud of that. And it took a big burden off the teachers. And for $2, I would have them make my bulletin boards all day long, So it was a good activity for them. They learned a little bit about business. They learned a little bit about managing money. They learned fine motor skills. We were recognized at the state, and then we were also given the opportunity to go to California and present our program. And the thing of it is, it's just like everything people do. We do it because it makes sense. It's logical, and it's anything any teacher would do. But then somebody out here in Hoboken thinks that it's a fabulous program, and it's like, wait a minute, why wouldn't you do this?
Well, I don't think it's anything any teacher would do. I think with what Berniece and we do in Berkeley County Schools, and the opportunity the kids have here for really great instructional support is second to none that I've seen.
Yeah, but that's what Bernice's reaction is typical for people who do things like that. Yeah. I just thought it was the logical thing to do, but
absolutely.
Thinking outside the box is what changes things.
I guess so.
Right?
Yes.
Well, I think too. Clearly Bernice has been an advocate and an incredible supporter of young people in the community, which therein lies the whole Boy Scouts recognition. But her involvement just throughout everything. I'm going to embarrass her now. I think about Rotary and her involvement with Rotaract clubs throughout the county. And then, oh my gosh, she can organize like nobody's business. When it comes time to go out to the youth fair, and our club takes a shift one Saturday night of the youth fair, Bernice is organizing, setting up how many people we need each shift. I think the best way to describe you is really a servant's heart, because that's what you've done for all these years that I've known you, is just really prove in your everyday life what it is to serve. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for saying that.
And your activity with the Girl Scouts is second to none.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that you were a woman of distinction, were you not? The Girl
Yes,
Scouts.
she was.
Now, who besides you and I think Pam Wagner have been both?
Yeah, true.
I have. Yes,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
That's true.
So I think Pam was both.
Yes,
that's
yes.
true.
And now you're the second one to be recipient of both the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts.
Well, let me tell you about Maria.
Oh,
Now-
stop.
No,
Stop,
okay,
stop,
no. So,
Too late.
So she is. When I start organizing for the youth fair, she's always the first one that says, I will take
I'll volunteer.
I'll take the 6:30 to 8:30 shift because she wants in and out there, and she doesn't have to do the cleanup at the end.
It's all about that. It's all
Smart
about knowing sort of the demographic there.
But Maria's the type of person too that if she can't make it, something comes up at the last minute, she is out there finding a replacement, and I think that's what Rotarians are all about. You know, she would not call and say, "Hey, I can't come. I don't feel like it tonight." She would send somebody in her place. Yeah. So that is
well. Thank you.
That makes being an organizer a lot easier. Believe me.
Yeah, well, and you have organized a lot of things over the time, not to mention, your business acumen, obviously your work in the school system, but then your work at McGinney and all the things you do. You keep all those guys and gals straight, but mostly the guys.
Just saying. They probably need it more.
Is Craig coming to my house anytime?
Yes,
I'm kidding.
Yes, he's got you on his list.
I'm on the list.
He's on the list. She's on the list.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing.
No, it's a good thing.
Right.
So, we really haven't talked about how much interest I've had with the Boy Scouts. Of course, my grandson, when he was 5, wanted to work on badges, and the first thing I thought was, we'll call and get him in with the Scouts. So he was in the pack 25, and I went with him, and then the next thing I know, I'm on the committee, and to be on the committee, you've got to do all this training, youth protective training, and then, you've got this, now you can be the second person, because with Boy Scouts, you have to be too deep at all times. And so a lot of times if there would be something happening and one of the leaders couldn't be there, then I could fill in because I've had the training. But I went to Cub meetings with Boyd for 6 years, and it truly amazes me that we think about youth experiences and it being about the program, and mostly about the program, but I can tell you right now, it's not the program that keeps them engaged. It's the person. It's the troop leader, and a leader can make a troop good, but a really great leader can make a change in a child's life. And I could see that, all around me, all these men and women
and women.
I said who live and breathe scouting. I mean, it tired me out. They were wanting to do a hike every weekend, or a camp out every weekend, or this every weekend. I'm going well, this is like
full time.
All these people do. I don't do this all the time, but I learned so much by actually being with Boyd, going through this experience. I mean, I actually rappelled down a 30-foot cliff. Can you imagine that? Did
you enjoy it?
I did. I was 68 years old, and I tell you what, the only reason I did it was because I was afraid to come back down that mountain. I mean, I was holding on for dear life going all the way up, and I'm just visualizing coming down this face of this rock. And the kids wouldn't do it, and very few people would do it.
That first step backward is frightening.
Oh, it was. But I tell you what, it was a whole lot easier for me coming down that way than it was going down the side of the rocks and all of that. And I think Matt Cole was marvelous. He's one of the volunteers, and he's a lifelong. I mean, we're talking about a lifelong scout. I don't even know. Does he have children?
He has, but he knows everything scouting. He's on the council board with many of us from the area here. And I think Bernice's point of the adult leadership, all volunteers that are working with these kids, every week in all these different things, whether it's outdoors, whether it's inside for the STEM training and other things these kids are getting. These people that are our volunteers are really changing the lives of kids. I mean, I've seen this for a lot of years in a lot of different ways. And Scouts in general, Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, I think every kid should be a scout. And of course, after the coronavirus, all of our membership went down. We're now in a rebuilding that's going just great. And actually, within our own council, we just brought in the council from Mason-Dixon in Hagerstown and up through Pennsylvania. So now we have 2 camps for kids that are just fantastic outdoor facilities, one more year-round than the others. And so I think all the things we're doing, we can talk about the money, but when the rubber really meets the road, it's what we can do for these kids, every week.
Speaking of the money, you're celebrating Berniece as your Person of the Year on April the 8th at the dinner.
Yes.
This is a wonderful, it is a fundraiser, and it's a celebration as well. What do you earmark these funds for after you are done with all your expenses?
Good question. I think probably the one that hits home the most for me when I'm around the schools is kids that can't afford scouting. And there, frankly, are a lot in Berkeley County. And by the way, this is just Berkeley County funding for Berkeley County. So we have a lot of scholarships available for kids' uniforms, supplies, camp expenses. We have a very, very limited staff, in my opinion, to handle all of our 9 counties in Shenandoah and another 6 counties in Pennsylvania and Maryland with the professional leadership. So we have one guy, great guy, Mark Bergeron here in our area that's now taken on the northern territory, if you will. Mark's got to make it around over 50, 60 different units and leadership groups to keep them trained and keep them going with what they need to know. And Matt Cole, you mentioned, and several of us did some Cub Scout program at the Boys and Girls Club. Every week is laid out in the lesson manual for being a leader. So it really is working with the leadership, getting more kids back into scouting, finding more adult leaders. Probably our number one need is finding the adult leaders, and that's really a big part of our sales, if you will, the evening on the 8th. As many of you in the room know yourself or others that would make outstanding leadership support for the scouting program. Going
to the 8th Pacific, who are going to be some of the speakers, Berniece, besides yourself, obviously?
Well, I can tell you. One of them may be a surprise still, but we have her friend Tim that was a teacher that went all the way to California, she said, that she's known for years, lifelong friends. We have Vicki Jenkins, who's going to be a speaker. We have one more that will be the ghost speaker if we can nail that person down. I think we will. And then we have several people from Rotary supporting it with the invocation and Master of Ceremonies and other things. So it's a real great local evening with a lot of
It's always
good
a lot
people.
of fun.
And how do you get tickets again, Pete?
You can go to www.bcdca25 at giving. What did I say?
Givesmart.com.
Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome.
Givesmart.com.
Yeah,
Or call me, either one.
And Berniece, about 3 minutes left here. Your experience with scouting as you got your kids through and such, what impression did it leave on you ultimately, and what do you want people to know about it?
Well, I tell you, I was the scout in the family. My boys didn't do scouts. It's so funny. I wanted them to be in scouts so badly, and I can remember it had to have been Jacob. It couldn't have been Morgan, but I can remember saying to Craig, "You need to take Jacob to scouts." So I sent them out one evening to scouts, and they came back in, and Craig says, "I'm never going back there again." He says, it's just chaos. Well, he didn't have he's a wonderful man, but he likes organization. and I guess maybe I was just too busy or whatever with teaching that I didn't pick up the mantle and take him after that. But it can be chaotic.
Yeah, and I think you said it exactly right, because I can remember my daughter when she went through, we went to Brownies, and it was like, this is just crazy. But a lot of it is the kids at the age, too, and
Young energy,
cacophony, and if you don't have a leader, and as Pete mentioned, they're all volunteers. So, you put, 20 little girls or boys in a room, and you say, have at. Here are your activities. And you're just like, oh.
Well, one of the big things is scouting is about teaching these kids to become leaders. And they're gaining skills. They don't realize it. And so Craig in one evening probably didn't recognize it. But these kids come out of Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, venturing, exploring Scouts, all the other ways we have to train them. They become leaders. And we've had many presidents, good ones, I think, and, business leaders, corporate executives, community leaders that are hanging with scouting for the rest
Admirals
of
and
their
talk
life.
show co-hosts who are Eagle Scouts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And have been honored. And we have about 30 seconds left. Bernice, you get the final thought.
Well, I can see, by going through the 6 years with Boyd, how they do guide the scouts into learning how to become a leader. And it doesn't happen overnight, believe me, I know. Thank God for this. 3 little fingers up in the air. We use that a lot. And
That means be quiet, by the way.
but everything we do is for the future of scouting, and a lot of us can't get out there and be that volunteer, but we can certainly share our treasures. So if you can do that, thank you.
Thank you, Bernice, and congratulations again. April the 8th, by the way, the holiday, and we are back with more after these.